So how do you become aware of your thoughts? If you aren't aware of negative thought patterns, you can't change them. You have to clearly see the thoughts that you're feeding to your subconscious. Here are a few proven ways to be more conscious of what you're thinking. Number 1, be more mindful. This is becoming aware of those moments that you're saying something in a harmful, negative, or just an unconstructive way. You may not always know why you did that or what led you to act that way, but becoming more mindful is not letting it just pass you by. Not just having that integrated into part of your day or routine, but more so becoming aware of, oh wow, something is off. When we realize that small moment, it's easier for us to take a step towards changing it and stopping the snowball from getting bigger. Becoming aware of your thoughts means being mindful. When you hear yourself saying something harmful or negative, take a moment, pause, and take a deep breath. Think to yourself, what triggered you to say that? A situation, a habit, a certain environment? What led you to act that way? This is being mindful of the things that are causing you to act negatively. The more you consciously observe your thoughts, the more you're aware and can catch it before it happens again. With time, this process becomes more automatic. I want to challenge you. Take the next few times you run into an acquaintance or a friend. Try to be aware when you're having small talk. I'm not talking about a deep conversation, but when you're just having small talk. See if your default story is a complaint or a story of self-pity. Are you trying to connect to a positive or a negative common denominator? You think it may be possible to turn that around a little bit? Maybe even change the way you're saying it a little, or change the subject altogether? Maybe instead of sharing a dramatic or unfair story, share something funny or interesting that you read, or something cute that your child did, or a friend's child did, or that your niece or nephew did. Number 2, look at areas of your life where you seek change. Understand that everything in our life has 2 sides to it, both good and bad. Each one may have a different outcome and process, effects on our surrounding, effects on ourselves and our lives, advantages, disadvantages, and most importantly, the way each option makes us feel may be different. One may make us feel more at ease or even hopeful. The other may make us feel anxiety, fear, or just uncomfortable. Since all situations are just what if situations we made up in our head, and we have a choice to decide where to put our focus, which scenario do we want to experience while we wait to find out what will happen? Which movie script would we like to act in? What serves us better at this moment? Let's say you already took a test. Sometimes it feels like you're going to have a heart attack until the results get posted, right? Now, there's not much you can do at this moment. There are a few outcomes that are possible. You failed. You passed with the grade you expected. You passed without the grade you expected. Whatever it is will happen anyway. Take a minute to think about those outcomes. If I fail, I'll probably need to redo the test. If I pass, I can either retake the test if I'm not satisfied and they allow me to, or I can stay with what I got. Now, after understanding all the possible scenarios, remember there are over 160 hours in that week to be lived. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of other situations on your path just in this week alone to experience. How about allowing your mindset to be prepared to contain and live through these situations without constantly carrying an additional few pounds of concern on your shoulders? Which areas do you feel concerned about? Take a moment to write it down. Pause me if you need. Now let me ask you another question. What are the different outcomes that can present themselves to you? Try and write each one in a word or two. I'll pass or I'll fail. The doctor will discover something, or I'm healthy. It will work or it won't work. Just kind of write it in a few words. Take a few moments. Again, if you need, pause me for a moment. Another question. What would you do if this outcome would happen? If it is a worst case scenario situation, is it something you can prevent from happening? Can you do something about it now? If yes, write it down. If no, write that down as well. Is it equally possible that there can be a positive outcome? Probably. What service will it do for you to think about the worst case scenario? It may ruin your mood, your productivity level, and confidence for nothing. It'll definitely have an effect on whatever you will engage with throughout that day or the week. You can start writing down your thoughts, which revolve around things that come up. This can make you more aware of the times you're choosing negative thought patterns and self-beliefs that lead you to a negative reality. 3, don't take things personally. You have to understand that other people around you are operating from a different point of reality and awareness as you're coming from. Can you see that others around you are not always affected by the same things that affect you? Their perspective or our perspective today may not always be in tune. It may be affected by so many things around them. Now, when we're having our children come home, for example, in the door with an attitude because something's happened to them in school, what should our reaction be? We can be thinking, how dare they come in and affect the others in the home, and think that they're allowed to act in a rude way. On the other hand, we can also just become aware that something has happened to them and understand that it has nothing to do with us. It'll be easier for us to differentiate their energy from ours. We all have our unique perspective based on our lives as it exists today, and someone else's response to a particular situation is their own interpretation of that situation. So it's important not to take anything personally. We each live in our own world. We each live in our own bubble, in our own reality. So imagine different worlds, so to speak, walking around and interacting with each other. There is so much that happened that led that person to act the way they acted when they interacted with you. So that it would even be weird to take it personally as if it was only meant for you. This view may allow you to step back and take a look at things from a different point of view. You may be able to separate yourself, as I said, like differentiate your energy, differentiate yourself from the situation and understand your role in the upcoming interaction. It may even be to step away. It may be to prepare yourself to being quiet and not responsive. This allows you to react, if at all, to the situation in a way that you really feel that your ideal self would. You may start practicing this and find that it's easier to do when the person is not as close to you, or you may find that it's easier for you to understand it when it's in regards to your children, but not when that driver cuts you off on the road. Here comes the element of practice and awareness, in which we learn any new habit or trait. The more we aim towards that, the closer we will become to it. You may feel like you're failing again and again, but at the same time, you may be learning to realize those little moments that trigger you and that catch you off guard. So you're more prepared for them later. So these failures are actually bringing you closer and closer to success, as all failures do. When we bring our awareness to the subject, we'll be able to become better and better at seeing them before they come, and then be able to plan ahead so that your reaction will not be automatic and stressful. Every person we come across or that comes into our reality has a bag or a luggage that they're bringing with them. We mentioned that it could be from their childhood and it could be from that morning. Let's take that moment that your child or someone you care about comes into your car. You give them a warm greeting and their reaction is in a completely different vibe. They say something inappropriate or they start bickering on something that happened. This is the moment to pause. Freeze the scene. Look at it from afar. Bottom line, anything that is said from this moment on has nothing to do with you. This person came into your car with a certain mindset, which means he had it before you were engaged with them. But what next? Decide to separate them from you. Try to remember, this is not yours. That will ease the encounter. It's funny, my husband and I at home, sometimes we tell a story or something that aggravates him, and the other one's in charge and reminding. We remind each other, this is not yours, or this is not ours, or it has nothing to do with you, right? We need that reminder once in a while. When you remind yourself that that is not yours, it'll ease the encounter. At that moment, maybe, don't judge, don't suggest, do not react. Now, it doesn't mean that after listening to them for 10 minutes, it won't affect your current situation or your mood, right? It may. You may find yourself reacting or calming them down, and suddenly you'll find yourself with the anger focused on you. Like their anger will just swoosh, turn around and be focused on you. Remembering not to take anything personally is one of the greatest game changers in my life. But with this too, practicing it will make you better at it. 4, make a self-awareness promise every morning. Do this each morning. Find a quiet place with no distractions. Breathe in deeply and exhale a few times. Clear your mind. Then promise yourself you'll make a conscious attempt to be more self-aware of your thoughts. Try to remind yourself throughout the day, especially when you feel off. Okay, so you learn that your thoughts become your life. You can create a positive, fulfilling, happy life by feeding your subconscious mind positive thoughts. How exactly do you do that? There are a number of techniques proven to reprogram your brain. You can hardwire your mind for success, happiness, and fulfillment, rather than negativity, failure, and stress. A few of these practices are thousands of years old, and some are relatively new. You can perform some by yourself, and with others, you may need assistance.